Hello and welcome to the It's All Good show. Lucas here for a chat. My name is Denise Belil and I'm a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist. I'm so excited today. Story extraordinaire from Christelle Biiga, and you'll see her story and how she's an inspirational speaker, and you'll understand why. And we're going to talk about how becoming a disruptive leader will change your life for the best. But I'll let her introduce herself. But first, I would like to invite you, when you're watching this, is to like this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel and click the little bell so that you're notified whenever I have new video that goes on. And the reason why I call this show It's All Good, it's pretty simple. Whoops, it's my favorite cup. It's all good. And when I found that cup, first of all, I loved it because it was orange. And I drink out of that cup pretty much every day. And I drink water. I don't drink that much coffee. I don't drink coffee at all. And the reason why it's called It's All Good, first the cup, but also because I found that in life, when we have event that comes at us and that are disturbing us, there's no point worrying about it. Because if it happens 5 years ago, 5 days ago, 5 seconds ago, can you change it? Mm-mm. There's nothing you can change about that. And if it's something that's coming in the future, let's say you have an event tonight or tomorrow, or you're going on a trip or you're planning something and down the road, can you really predict exactly how things going to happen? No. So all you have to do is take things as they come and say it's all good. If it's something negative, you say, hey, I'll find a solution. There's always a gift in every situation. And if you can't find the gift, you will have had the gift of knowledge. Well, I know I'm never going to do that again. Or, different gift. There's always something that's going to come out of any situation. So without any further ado, let me bring in Christelle, and she's going to tell you her story because I don't want to read it for you. She's amazing. She's going to tell you where she come from and what she's doing. So Christelle, bienvenue. Welcome to the It's All Good show. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Merci, Denise. Thank you for having me. I love the concept of your show. It's all good. I can say so much about that theme, and I love everything you said before introducing me. So, before we get into all the chats, my name is Christelle Biiga. I'm an inspirational speaker and a TV show host, and I love being here, and I love actually empowering people. And I'm just a big dreamer who believes, like a little girl, that anything is possible. I went back to that stage where I believe with my heart that anything can be achieved. So, and I'm here to empower other people to step back into that space and start dreaming again and wanting more in life and going after what they really want in life, which is sometimes challenging. But that's why we are here. That's why we are having this conversation today, to give you the tools and share my experience with you and share with you what has helped me be where I am today. Thank you, Denise.
Wonderful. So tell me your story of how you got into America, and I love that resilient story. I think you're it's absolutely amazing, and I think that might inspire a few people. So go ahead.
Yes, yes. I really love to call it a journey of courage because if you're watching this, listening, you might notice that I'm not originally from America with my accent. I'm originally from Cameroon, that's in Africa. And that's why I can speak a little bit of French with Denise because we
Hmm.
speak, my first language back in Cameroon was French.
Wow, sweet.
And when I moved to the US 5 years ago, I decided, hey, you know what? I want more in life, and where else can I go to create that big life that I had in mind for myself? I bought into the story that in America anything is possible. So I said, okay, let's go to the United States, in the country where all things are possible. And I packed my things 5 years ago, had no family or friends here in the States, no speaking English at the time. And then I just took the leap of faith. I decided to step in and take that action because sometimes people have dreams and plans, but they don't really see exactly the step by step process till the end. and they don't take action until they know all the answers. And I didn't have all the answers. I didn't even speak the language. I didn't have anybody waiting for me here. And I'm glad that I had the courage to do that, because that's why sometimes it takes to create the life that you want, the courage to leave the things
Yeah.
behind that you believe you need so much, your comfort zone, all the things that feel so safe right now, but that are limiting your ability, your potential. Have the courage to leave it behind and take that leap of faith. That's what I did.
All
I
or
came
nothing.
I came to this country all excited, and at the moment I landed at LAX with my two suitcases, my $2,500 on the Visa card. What happened, to my dream got crushed. That's why when you were saying at the introduction, when life comes at us, when life brings things to us, we have to be prepared, because that's what life does. I didn't expect an immigration officer at LAX to look at me and say, you know what, I think you came here to work as a prostitute, so you need to be deported. It felt like a bad dream, but I realized that he wasn't joking when he called two female officers to perform a body search on me and put handcuffs. At that moment, it became clear that I was really being accused of something that I didn't know where the accusation was coming from. And just because of your introduction, Denise, I will share with you a little episode. As I was sitting on that bench, waiting to know what was going to happen to me in this foreign country, with my handcuffs, waiting for them to process me and send me where I needed to be sent, an immigration officer was walking by. And if you have ever been at LAX, sometimes it's really crazy busy, especially at that time of the year.
Mhm.
It was December 31st. So it was crazy busy. And I walked there later on. An immigration officer doesn't have time to stop and randomly talk to people. But he stopped and asked me, "What's going on, sister?" And I started saying whatever I could say, because I couldn't really speak English that well. So probably I was saying a lot of things in French, whatever. But I just felt the need to speak to somebody who finally wanted to listen to me instead of just
Mhm.
accusing me. And when he listened patiently, and when I was done, he said this thing. He said, "It's going to be okay.
Mm.
He said, "Oh, it's going to be all right." That's why I love your quote on your little cup.
It's all right. It's all
Yes,
good.
that's what he told me. He didn't know that is all actually going to be all right. But I believe that I held on to that words that he told me. And when I was sent to the detention center for a judge to decide on my case, if I was going to be sent back or not, I had that little motivational word that man told me, that it's going to be all right. And for some reason, I had no evidence that it was going to be all right. As a matter of fact, it was a traumatic experience. I ended up spending 9 months in jail,
Wow.
because that's what it is. It's jail. Wearing that ugly uniform, being awake at 5 a.m. to count me, make sure I didn't run away, all the things, jail time, right? And people, the women that I met there, told me that it's impossible to win your case while you are there, especially without a lawyer, because even with a lawyer, you can maybe get a bond and go finish your case outside, but nobody leaves that place with a legal status to stay in the United States. So I had also that. And if I have some people here maybe working on their dreams right now, you are probably in a situation where people are telling you this is not going to work.
It's not
It's not
possible.
going
They
to
crush
happen.
your dream, right? People
Oops,
are
I
good
lost
at
my hair
crushing
in the
your own
process.
dreams.
Yeah, so that they're telling you it's impossible. Nobody has ever done it. Maybe even in your industry, you have this big dream of creating something new in your industry, being a disruptor in your industry, and people
Yeah.
are telling you nobody do it
It's
that
gonna
way.
work. Yeah.
Everybody does it this way. What are you doing? What are you even saying? It's not possible. I heard that message from those women. They spoke from their experience. And that's what the
Mhm.
people talking to us, speaking about our dreams, speak from their own experience.
Yeah.
But I love to remind people that you are free to create your own experience, create your
Yeah.
own story. And that's what I did. At the end of the 9 months, it wasn't a sentence. I could have left at any moment. I just had to sign a deportation paper and give up on my dream and go back to my comfort zone. And so many people do that, right? You start
Yeah.
and this.
The
Nobody
easy
told
way
me this
out.
entrepreneurship is going to be so hard. Nobody told me that building a business is going to be so stressful or so. I didn't know too many people will say no to my offers. I didn't know to get that position in my corporate job is going to require me to work so hard. I wasn't expecting this, so I will stay right here. I had that opportunity. Nobody sentenced me to 9 months, but I ended up being there because since I didn't have a lawyer, every time I go to court, they say, "Come back next month." So I had the opportunity to give up and go back to my family, to my comfort zone. but I stayed. And for you to be able to go through the challenging times, you have to make a decision every single day. And I love to call that courage, because sometimes people think of courage as, the firefighter jumping in a house on fire to save a baby. That's courageous, that's brave. But
Hmm.
also, before jumping into that house on fire, you make a decision. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And that decision piece is really important. What are you choosing to do through your challenging times? What are you choosing to do when you are faced with difficult decisions? I chose to follow my dream. I chose to stay the course, not knowing what was going to happen, with no evidence, actually, with proofs coming from the outside world that it's not going to happen. But ultimately, I won my case. And I
Wow.
became
That's amazing.
it created a new story that now has allowed other women after me to win their case, because they saw I won mine. So
Yeah.
you get to choose. Either you believe to other people's stories and you align to that, or you choose
You
to
create your own
disrupt that
story.
story, disrupt that pattern, disrupt that way of doing things, disrupt that belief system, and create something new. It's your choice. So that's my little story. So I left, I
It
won
is
my case,
amazing.
got my legal state right to stay here, and started living my dream.
I think that's absolutely amazing. I remember when you were telling me that story when we first met, and I was just in awe of the perseverance and the the will to really go through whatever you wanted to go through. You came here in America to live your dream, to create something better for yourself. And as you mentioned, a lot of people would have just signed that paper and say, that's it, ça y est, je m'en vais chez moi, c'est fini. J'en peux plus. I want to go home. I want to see my family. That's it. I can't deal
Yes.
with this. But you persevere, and that's what you show them every time you would go back every month. And I'm sure you would learn things in the meantime, like different ways to fight your case. And he said, that's it. Eventually they'll say yes. Eventually they'll let me in, and they did. And that's a um, great perseverance and great leadership in a way, because you kind of took your own life in your
Mhm.
hands and you say, my life is here and I can choose to throw it away or to move forward, and you did. So congratulations. I think
Oh,
that's
thank you.
really good. It's, I mean, just by starting with that, it gives you already a great advantage in learning experiences, right? Like the things that you've learned about yourself in that year, the
Mm-hmm.
things that you were able to overcome, the fears and the apprehension, and I think that's really amazing, and you bring that forward in your business as
Yes.
a disruptive leader, right?
Yes, and I love that you brought up the leadership piece, because, first of all, let me explain the title, because some
Mm,
people get pulled away when they hear only the word disruptive, because they
mm,
see it as something negative. But if you look at the definition of disruptive leader, it's something really positive. It's the people, the change makers,
yes.
the people who bring new things, new ideas, new concept. Those are disruptive leaders. It can
Yeah.
be in an industry, it can be in a company, it can be in a business. Create something new. And that's what it takes, really, because, as you're saying, it took me a personal leadership to lead myself through that. But it doesn't start when the challenge begins. What is a leader? A leader is somebody who has a vision, and that has the ability to get people to follow them through that vision, right? So you can't be a leader if you don't have people with you.
Hmm.
But the first person you need to lead really is yourself.
It's yourself. Yeah.
You need to create a vision for yourself. You have two people in life, and there's nothing wrong or right. It's just two options. You have followers, the people who wait for direction, the people who wait to be told what to do, and they will just do it, which is great. And you have the leaders, the people who decide, this is what I want to do, and I'm showing up for it. This is where I'm going. It's clear in my mind. The vision piece is so critical, because the reason why I was able to take that courageous move of leaving everything behind and coming to a complete different country to do that, because my vision was clear in my mind. It wasn't something that I would have been nice for me to have. No, it was something that I wanted to have. And I
Yeah.
knew exactly what it looked like. So it's really important for people to get clear on what it is that they want their life to be like. It's so interesting to notice how many people that don't know what they really want. They go
Hmm.
through life just following what is available.
Floating. They just
Exactly.
float, right? They're
I
just
have a
like the
job
wave
because I
goes
have this.
here, the wave goes there, the wave goes there. They have no path. They're not
Exactly.
going in
I
any
have a job
direction.
because I need to pay bills. I'm
Yeah.
creating a business because I lost my job. I need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you really want your life to be like? What is your big vision for yourself? Where do you see yourself in the world, in your industry, in your business? It has to be clear. Because if you just go get a job or apply for a position because, well, the position is open, I qualify, okay, let me give it a shot, it's the different energy than somebody that goes saying, this is where I'm going and it's happening. It might not happen today, it might not happen in 5 minutes or in five, but it's happening. You
Mm-hmm.
know that there is nothing. So when I had that clear vision leaving my country, I came here. Being in jail wasn't part of the plan, right? Because so many people get stuck on the I need a perfect plan. Sometimes things don't go as planned. I think we are old enough to realize
Yeah,
that.
and that's what I was saying
Things
at the beginning, right? Like you can't
exactly,
really predict everything. I'm sure you had planned everything. I'm going to arrive. I'm going to
except
do
from
this.
jail.
Going to do that, except from jail. So we don't know what the future brings. So there's
And that's
no
the beauty
point
of life.
worrying about
And
what's
that's the
going to
beauty of
happen. Yeah,
life.
we just need to
Because
be
that
ready.
allows you,
Yeah,
yeah, as you say, we're saying others allow you to discover what you are really capable
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Because before that time, I'm sure people can be listening and saying, she's so brave, I can never survive that. Listen, I didn't know I could survive that either.
Mm-hmm,
We don't
mm-hmm.
know what we are really capable of until we take the
Until
leap of
we
faith,
face
until we
it.
believe in
Yeah.
ourselves enough to step in for ourselves, for our dream, for what we want to create in the world. So if you have, let's say you are in an industry and you have that energy of disruptive leader in you that just see a way of doing things that feel like this can be better. This can be different. This, I don't think is the only way, and you feel that within yourself, I'm
Mm.
calling you already a disruptive leader. Because if you're already noticing that something needs to happen, something needs to change, whether it's in your company, whether it's in your industry or your business, you already have that energy of
Yeah.
changing patterns, breaking patterns, breaking belief system. Because the reason why things are done a certain way for ages, for centuries, is because of one way of thinking, one way of believing things has to happen. So it's important for you to have the courage. If it doesn't work for you, if you feel like there is a better way, like in my country, I had a good life, right? I had my event planning company. I was doing some TV and radio. So I wasn't on the street struggling, right? Because you can't afford a flight ticket to come to the US if you are hungry, right? But I knew there was something more. Because sometimes we get caught up into, oh, my situation is good. Doesn't matter. It can be good, but how do you feel? Does
Yeah.
it meet what you want your life to look like? What
Does
you
it
want your
respond
life
to
to
your
be?
vision, right? Does it
Exactly.
respond to what you want out of life? And that goes back to how you started this conversation, is that you got to know what you want. And once you fill that up, once you filled up that section, what do I want? Like literally, like really find out what's your goal? What are you here? What are you expecting to achieve out of life? What's your
Mhm,
purpose? And once
mhm.
you find that, then everything else can align towards that. But if you don't
Exactly.
know what you want, you're just going to go to your 9 to 5 job. You're going to do your work. You're going to get back home, watch Netflix, go to bed, do it again the next day, right? Without a
Exactly.
purpose.
As long as that makes you happy, go for it.
Yeah,
But if you
exactly.
feel
Yeah.
something calling you for more, you have that in you. That means it's time to become that disruptive leader in your own life and
Mm,
disrupt the pattern that you have created. You know, you have probably created a pattern of just going with the flow even though it doesn't feel good, just doing what is available because what you want is too far away, is too big, is too hard. You need to be able to have the courage to disrupt that story you created for yourself by saying it's impossible, I don't have what it takes, I don't have the money, I don't have the support, I wish my partner will support me, I wish my boss will like me, I wish people will understand me, I wish. Disrupt that
mm.
conversation
Break it
and
up.
ask to yourself this simple question: what is it? What can I do now? Listen, Sometimes we think we need to have it all figured out, but with the first, when you if imagine it as is, you have a line in front of you, steps. If you are step zero, you don't see step three. But if you're already at step one, it's easier for you to have a glimpse on step three, right? So the first step is critical.
Mm-hmm.
But some people never take the first step until they have all the steps. It doesn't work like that. Because guess what? You can think you have the perfect plan on paper, but life happens.
Yeah.
Nobody saw the lockdown coming in 2020. People had great plans. They didn't see that coming. And that's life. That's why I love to remind people that becoming a disruptive leader is what allows you, when life happens, to create new ways, new solutions, new opportunities. Find within yourself something that will not fit into the narrative. Like in my situation, I was in that place where the narrative was nobody wins their case in this place. That was the narrative.
Mm.
What system are you in? What narrative is ruling your life right now? What story is controlling your destiny right now? It's important for you to have the courage to disrupt that and say, it might have happened in the past, or maybe that's how it's happening now for other people, but it doesn't have to be my story. I can disrupt that story, create a different one. Maybe before I've done things that didn't work, but I can disrupt that pattern and start having things happening. This week, I had a really so many things going on. And I want to come back to what you were talking about at the introduction. Sometimes things happen somewhere, but because I have become that disruptive leader, when things start happening, I can find that quiet place within myself and think there is a way out of this. What does it look like? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
being overwhelmed and just putting my head over under the pillow,
Feeling
which
sorry for yourself and say, "Oh, poor
exactly.
little me," you know,
And there is a
nobody
place and time
understands
for that.
me.
And there
Yeah,
is a place and time for that. I'm a big advocate of people feeling their emotions. If you feel like
of
crying,
course.
cry. We are humans. We want that. Listen, I cried in that jail more times than I can count. Right? Cry. Let your emotions out. Feel how you feel. You have the right to be sad, to be
Yeah.
frustrated, to be angry. Let it out and anchor back to the truth. The truth is there is a way out. What does it look like? Be that
Mm-hmm.
leader that doesn't accept things as a fatality. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Leaders don't think like that. Just imagine yourself like, I count on me to fix this. That's leadership. If you have a team you lead, you know those people count on you. Those people wait for you for direction. So if you give up, the whole team is giving up. So you have to become that person in your life and know whenever you are in that tough spot, remember that you can only count on you. Even if people can support you, support is great, but you come first and people follow. Your team will come to back you up, but you have to show up first. So that's why it's important to be in that disruptive space. When that conversation start happening in your head, you can know this is what is happening. I'm afraid right now. Okay, I acknowledge that I'm human. So I'm afraid. What is so scary? And what is the worst thing that can happen if I do this? You go through that fear. There is one trick that I teach people about fear, how to manage it, to make sure that it doesn't control you. We all have fears, right? So when fear starts, fear is actually not your enemy. Your brain has just that way to protect you because your brain has a memory of you trying something that didn't work and you cry so bad because you were hurt. Your brain wants to keep you safe. So the next time you want to try something new, your brain, your protector will come and tell you, please don't do that because you are going to feel the pain. It's not going to say like that, but that's the intention behind it.
Yeah.
Don't
There's
do
a
that
feeling you
because
got inside for sure.
if you apply for that position, there's no way you're going to be disappointed. No, if you start that business, come on, nobody has a business in your family. That conversation is to protect you. So I teach people to pay attention, stop and listen to the conversation. Don't try to shut it down, don't try to ignore it, don't try to suppress it. Listen. It's like we're having an argument now, right?
Yeah.
If we're going back and forth, it's just going to escalate. But if I keep quiet and listen to you, eventually you're going to run out of argument and also calm down. And now, if I tell you, okay, I heard you, what you're saying actually makes sense, you feel better. Now you don't feel like we are fighting anymore. Now it's kind of feel like we're on the same team. Do the same thing with the little voice in your head when the fear comes in. Stop and listen. Don't
I-
try to suppress it with positive affirmation. No. Don't fight back.
Acknowledge it. Just
It's
being
like,
acknowledging the fear, the resentment, or whatever feeling we have. It's good
exactly,
to, the first key is acknowledgement and awareness, becoming
exactly.
aware of the emotion you have inside of you.
Exactly. And then once you pay attention, you listen, you let it speak, remembering that it's not against you, it's actually just trying to protect you. You listen. Eventually, if you pay attention, if you are really connected with yourself, you will feel that the tension is being released already by you just listening to that voice. Because you run out of argument, believe it or not. You will run out of argument and you'll be able to say, it
Yeah.
makes sense. Everything you say can actually happen. I can go live. I can stand in front of my team on Monday and give that and maybe forget what I had to say during the presentation. You're right, that can happen. It's a possibility. But what if now that you are on the same team with your brain, acknowledging that it makes sense, it's possible, now create a new possibility. That's how you disrupt the pattern. Instead
Yeah.
of just staying there, now you create a new option. As a disruptive leader, you find a
Yeah.
new way, a new possibility, a new solution. But what if I actually give that presentation and it's so insightful that the result of the company change? Or what if I try that new strategy and my business actually help more people and just explode? How cool would that be? Now you give a new direction to your brain, and as a computer, the brain will go look for a solution. That's how our brains are. You give it something, you're gonna go fix it, solve it, find a solution. So now you give it a new direction. The fear is still there. You acknowledge that it's a possibility, but now you have a different option, and you are willing to try. You are willing to give it a shot. You are willing to take that new path. So that's how you become a disruptive leader in your own life. You acknowledge the patterns, the things that are keeping you, the emotions, the fears, the stories, the system around you, the ways of doing things around you, your own beliefs. You pay attention to them. You notice the ones that don't work and you create new ones. And you decide that I'm going to disrupt this and create something different. I'm going to be the change maker of this story that has been told in my industry or in my company or in my business. I'm going to be the one to create a different story, to start a new conversation. What does it look like? And you start taking steps toward that direction.
And that's how people become disruptive leader in their own life, right? Because you don't have to be a leader of a big group, of a big company. We have our own life. You can be the disruptive leader in your family. You can be the disruptive leader in your department. You can be the disruptive leader just with yourself and make decision, right? To move in a direction that you want to move, even if it's scary, even if everybody's telling you it's impossible. We're able
Exactly.
to actually decide and believe it in it, and it go back, know what you want. Like, you always, like, the first step, if anybody is listening to this, if you don't know what you want, if you don't know what is it, like, if you're just living and you don't have a huge purpose in your life and you just feel like, it's fine, like, it's, but if you would like, but then you're wishing things are different, you have to find out why. Find
Mm.
out why you want things to be different and how you can make those changes, and then disturb your life. Because it's like, the way I see it, an example that I often give, and people that are not questioning themselves and are not happy, because some people don't question themselves and they're happy, well, good for them, just keep going, because that's the life that works for you. But if you're not happy and then you complain but you don't make any changes, it's like the big, on the highway we have bumps, right? But that's going like that because the car is always driving those, or in the snow. I know you didn't experience snow. But in
Okay, I've
Canada
been in
we have,
Canada and I felt it a little bit. It was the end of April. It was supposed to
yeah,
be
yeah,
okay, but it
warm,
wasn't.
but no. But when you have snow, then you have the big grooves, right? And it's easier to drive in a groove. If you want to change lane, it needs effort, it needs difficulty. But then once you pass that bump, once you went over those groove, which is disrupting your life. But once you go over and you take the other road, all of a sudden it's like, hey, that wasn't so hard after all. I'm able to do it, and I am, like, I move, like, I was going to say like you, but it's nothing like you. But I moved from back east to here, and I came here, and again, it was like I didn't get put to jail for a year, but it was all different changes, different people, different friends, different environment, no family, no, and then I decided to break the pattern, just to move out and to make some different changes. And I, I've never regretted it. I'm happier than ever because I make my own decision every morning. And
Mm-hmm.
another tips that I can give to people in regard to that is, people say, "Oh, my life is just too hard, and I can't make the changes." But every morning when we wake up, and I'm sure you'll agree with that, we can decide to make something different. It doesn't mean because you did something yesterday that you're stuck to do it today,
Mm-hmm.
right? We can make those changes. We can move. We can make the life that we want. It doesn't mean it's going to change just like that, but that first step you were talking about before, stepping on that first step and seeing what else is possible. And if we don't take those baby steps to make some little changes, if we're not happy, we're going to stay miserable for the rest of our life. And that's not a life to live, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's really important for people to realize what I call a disruptive leader. It's not only the people who have people that they are leading. You're
Mm-hmm.
leading yourself.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you're not leading yourself right now, there is a question mark right there. Why? Who is
Mm-hmm.
leading you? Because somebody
Yeah.
needs to be leading. If
Yeah.
you're not leading yourself, somebody's
Somebody else
leading
does.
you. So who is leading your life? Who is
Yeah.
leading you?
Who's
You just need to
deciding
ask
for
that
you?
simple question. There's nothing wrong with leadership with having somebody. I have worked with people. I have been in team and I had leaders. You follow instructions because and the best personal leaders, the people who lead their lives the best, are great in teams, are great instruction followers. Why? Because they understand the value of leadership. They
Mm-hmm.
respect the leader when they see one because they are leaders themselves. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
when you have a team, if you are in a corporate world, that is struggling to follow instruction. How do I know that? Interestingly enough, when I was released, the first job that I had in this country was at LAX, the same airport where I almost got deported upon
That's
arrival.
funny.
Yes, and I had the job because it was a French airline. They needed some French speakers, so it was great. And then, sure enough, in less than a year, I became a manager, which was never, it was the first time ever in the history of that company, right? So, how do I become a leader so fast? In manager, which is official leadership,
Yeah.
not just personally, it's because of my personal leadership.
Yeah.
People notice how I was leading myself every day when I come to work. And then when I became the manager, because I've been in the team, all the people that were my supervisors before now I became their manager. But because I was under them before and they saw how I was leading myself as an agent, as just a staff, they were able to respect me as a manager because they knew already that I can lead myself through things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they were looking up to me without that. But you came here afterwards. How come you're our manager? No, they had that respect because they saw how I was leading myself. So if you
Yeah.
have a team that has issues following instructions or following your direction as a leader, you make them leaders themselves. How? By building in them that mindset of reminding them. I will have those briefings every morning before every flight and remind people that wherever they are, they have to see that yes, we assign them tasks, we assign them to positions to do
Mm-hmm.
things, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, as they are standing in front of that computer or in front of that passenger
They
or
are
at
the
the
leader.
aircraft, they are there to make decisions before we come in. And
Yeah.
when you make those people leaders like that, it's easier for you to manage them because now they are not just waiting for you to tell them what to do, which makes your work harder. Now they feel that energy of I can figure it out. Can find a solution before, if I cannot find it, calling my manager or my supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Mm-hmm.
already have that mindset of I can do this. I can find a way. So that's because sometimes we're in systems that work great. And sometimes we give them those assignments and say, you know what? We have systems in place that work. And you are the ones performing the job. You might feel or notice things that can be done better, that can change things. Come to me with that.
Yeah.
That will bring them in the place where they know they don't have to get stuck in something that is like unshakable. They need to feel when they are working, they are thinking more of how, what is the way to improve this. And guess what? If they improve their work, because I'll tell them it will make your job easier if you find better ways to do things, better way, maybe ways to improve the system, maybe improve, that will make your job easier. But in
Mhm.
reality, it will not only make their job easier, it will make the company more money, because
Of
now we
course.
save time. Saving time is saving
Everybody is
money.
more efficient. Of course.
Exactly. They become more efficient, but it's really, again, building that leadership spirit in people, but not only leadership in terms of telling people what to do, but really that disruptive leader who is capable of creating solutions, who is capable of looking at things and not be afraid to say, this can be done better. Some people can have great ideas, because some people can have revolutionary solutions, but will they have the courage to speak up because of that story of what are people going to say? They have been doing things this way for ages. In my industry, I'm a coach, every coach does this way, but then what if I start doing things differently? What are people going to say? Have the courage to say something, or to offer solutions, or to make suggestions. It's really what a disruptive leader is capable of doing, because they have that vision. This can be better. This can be done differently. This can be more effective.
I'm sure a lot of people want to know more about you. So how can someone can reach you? Because we're coming to the time now. So how can someone reach you, and what type of people do you like to work with so
Okay, I
that
really
people can
love to.
recognize themselves?
Yes, yes. I love to work with entrepreneurs. I love to work with speakers. I love to work with corporate leaders, because I know when you are an entrepreneur, you will end up, you have to lead yourself through a lot. I'm an entrepreneur
Yeah.
myself, so I know what type of personal leadership is required to make it, to become successful, to create really what you want, to make the
Yeah.
impact that you want to have in the world. And as a speaker, getting on that stage can be scary. So I know, again, how you need to manage those fears and still be out there and give your message and change people's lives. As a corporate leader, you have teams to manage. You have a place you want to take your company to. You need to build a certain level of leadership to be able to create that. So those are the people I love to work with. I love to
Wonderful.
speak in companies too, because I know how important it is for people to realize that if you work somewhere, you have to lead yourself where you are before complaining about the management or waiting for the management to come save you and make things better for yourself. How can you improve what you're doing? How can you make it better? And if it doesn't work for
Wonderful.
you, what can you do about it? So
And how
those are
can
the people I love to
people
work.
and how can people reach you? I'll put
All
it
right,
in
they
the chat
can.
later, but
Yes. So whatever, if they're looking for a speaker to come speak at their corporate office, the website is meetchristelle.com. Simple as
mhm.
that. HTTP meetchristellebiga.com. Like my name is on the screen.
Yeah.
Meetchristellebiga.com. If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, corporate event, you go there. If you're looking to speak to me as a coach, you go to the link. I think I shared the link with you. I offer a 30-minute consultation, complimentary coaching call that I love to call Courage Boost Session. I can help you out, go through any scary moment you're going through, give you tips to make sure that fear doesn't stop you and you create really what you want. So those are the two ways. I'm not sure if you have the second link. If not, I can drop it in the chat for you. Let me know. But those are the two ways people can get in contact with me.
Yes,
Or
I
just
have.
DM me on social media. Just
Yeah,
DM me on social
I'm going to post in the chat after this call. Like it's
Yes.
picktime.com, right?
Yes.
Meet Christelle Biga.
Yes.
So I will put that in the chat in after our call.
All right.
So merci beaucoup. Thank you so much, Christelle. I mean, you're an inspiration coming from, Africa, moving here, and not being accepted in the US and being put in jail for 9 months and fighting your way out and disrupting the system because nobody believed you could do it and you did it. And now you build
Mhm.
yourself an amazing business. You're a show host also. So, I mean, it's amazing all the things that you've done. And congratulations. It was an honor to interview you today.
Thank you so much, Denise. It was such a pleasure to be here. Merci beaucoup. Merci de m'avoir reçu. I hope this was helpful. I hope somebody found value in this and that they will make a decision from now on to become a disruptive leader in their own life. And if they lead any team, to become that disruptive leader that will create something unique in the world.
Yes, and please reach Christelle to get a chat with her and get to know her more and see how she can help you. So I'll be right back, Christelle. Just stay there. Thank you so much for the listener. It's always a pleasure to be here with you and to bring amazing guests, to bring you some different insight. And today, Christelle was absolutely amazing. She has a lot of great value to bring to us and to future leaders and present leaders in the world. So next week, I have as a guest, who I have next week? I know who I have next week, but it's Monica Henderson. And Monica Henderson is the founder of Mink Life University. And I'm working really closely with her. And we actually have a conference coming up this Friday, Saturday in Sydney, but it's going to be in America. It's going to be Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday. And it's all in my feed. So if you see that, but if you're watching that on YouTube, it'll be too late. So we're doing a conference there. So I invite you to do that. And until next time, I wish you an amazing week. And I'll be back here Monday at noon Pacific time as every week. So until next time, be kind to one another. Take care.